Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Garrison for Guitar. This video is going to be a follow-up video to my recent video on how to solo or play guitar solos on guitar with more feel. And right off the bat, we're going to be talking about bends, we're going to be talking about hammer-on and pull-offs, we're going to be talking about legato, we're going to be talking about slides as well. So I'm not going to waste any more time, I'm going to jump right into it, and I'll see you in a second with my guitar. So hey guys, let's jump right into it. We're gonna start off with a concept called hammer-ons and pull-offs. All right. So hammer-ons are basically when you play a note and you hammer on the next note that you want to play. So instead of something like I would do that. Instead of picking out both those notes, I pick out the first one and I just hammer on my third finger onto the next note or the next sound that I want to create. And I'm going to be giving these examples in the shape of the G minor pentatonic. I will put an image tab thingy on the left or the right of me, and it's going to be there pretty much throughout the entire lesson so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to play something and I'm going to pick out each note. Alright, or we can modify that too. And a lot of those notes, none of them were hammer-ons. All right, now I'm gonna hammer on, just the same two notes that I showed you, which was the third fret on the D string and the fifth fret on the D string. I'm gonna hammer them on, and I'm gonna play the same set of notes. So what I did there was the first time I played it slow, which was, and the second time I played it almost instantaneously, something like this. And if you compare that to actually picking out the notes, I mean, that sounds cool, but at the same time, if you do, it just gives it a lot more character, because when you're hammering on something or you're pulling off something, those notes are just a little bit softer than the rest of the notes that you will actually physically pick out each and every time. And what that does is, I feel like it adds a lot of texture to your guitar solo. By texture, I mean that there are different layers of sound going on in the same guitar solo, and that makes it very, very sort of unique, and it almost sounds like a conversation that a guitarist is having. Building off of this, the next thing that I want to talk about is slides. So I'm just gonna noodle a bit with the guitar. I'm gonna start off using the concept of the hammer-ons and pull-offs that I was just talking about, and I'm gonna throw in a couple of slides there wherever I feel like it. So similarly with slides, a lot of what's going on is that for a split second, the user hears a note that they're not supposed to hear when it comes to the shape of the pentatonic. And if I'm sliding from the third fret to the fifth fret, I am gonna inadvertently play the fourth fret on the D string as well. So that's what happens, but it happens much faster. So it doesn't sound as, discontinued, like, but at the same time, it does sound a lot more unique than just, and it's a lot more flowy, and a lot of guitarists do use this. For example, if I was to make a longer, set of slides, and it works really well whether you're going sideways on the neck, or if you've come up the scale with something like, so I mean, it works both ways, and you can definitely utilize the slide in unique ways. So these are just guidelines I'm throwing at you. These are just principles. How you want to do these things, I mean, specifically for a slide, the only thing I do when it comes to finger position is, it's a very particular, motion, especially because you're going to be doing it with one finger, and that finger is going to be your middle finger or your third finger, especially if you're a beginner. I probably still find it a little difficult to slide with my pinky finger. Now, that being said, I want to take my thumb, I want to put it behind the neck of the guitar so that it's actually in the middle of, this sort of ivory inlay that we have here. And I'm going to clamp my entire hand down I'm gonna bring my wrist. My wrist isn't gonna be stuck to the guitar like that. It's actually gonna be right about there. This is a phenomenon because I feel like I have bigger hands than most people. So it's hard to cramp a lot of things on the guitar for me. But and what I do there is I use my thumb behind the board. I don't know if I can show it to you. All right, and when I slide, I use that point as a pivot. So right here, my thumb is still in the same place, even though my middle finger has come all the way here. And what that allows me to do is swing my hand forward, just using my thumb, and it works as like a pivot. And you need to figure that out and see, what you would like to do with the slide and how like crazy you want to get with it. But it's definitely a great place to start with. I haven't gotten too crazy with it because I want this to be a more or less beginner lesson. And let's get into legato, I would say right now. Now legato is something that I find a lot of fun, and for this we're actually going to do something cool. We're going to add a couple of notes to the pentatonic scale. So we have the third fret on the B string, the sixth fret on the B string, the third fret on the high E string, and the sixth fret on the high E string, right? And that's going to be up there in the tabs as well. Now to these notes, we're going to add the fifth fret on the high E string and the fourth fret on the B string. So the shape, instead of, it becomes a shape of six notes, which is, and a legato is basically when it's kind of like hammering and pulling off, but in a more continuous sense. You're gonna hit very few notes or just one note, and you're gonna create more than one sound with just that downstroke or upstroke. So that would technically be just the shortest legato run I could come up with. But if you want to get a little more fancy with it, you can always do stuff like, and inadvertently what I did there was I added even more notes to the G minor pentatonic. But if you want to understand how that works, just you start playing around with the notes before the, and even after it as well. So I mean, right from here, if we got the sixth fret as the outer boundary on the bottom strings, then just by messing around with those, the notes right in front of it, I can figure out what's to be there and what's not to be there. I do plan on doing a detailed video on how the pentatonic scale works and how to just, how to get out of the basic box shape that there is. Now, that being said, legato. Yeah, so that was it for legato. And what was the fourth one I had mentioned? Yeah, I was talking about bends. So now bends can work two ways, right? There's a half bend and there's a full bend. A full bend is when you bend up from a note to the note that is two frets above the first note. So you got this one, and we're gonna bend up to this one. And the best way you can do that is by letting it ring out. And now bend up to the same frequency. And your guitar is going to be a little unique. The type of strings you have on your guitar will also play a factor in this, and how much you have to bend, how hard you have to press, etc., etc. Similarly, there's something called a half bend, which is if I want to bend up from this note right here, the fifth fret on the G string, to the sixth fret on the G string. So same principle, but I have to bend much less. And where this works is like when you look at the pentatonic shape, you have this section right here, which is just frets 3 and 5 on the A string, D string, and G string. So a lot of people like to use this bit to begin, a sort of groovy guitar solo that could sound like. So what I did there twice was, I know that I'm going to use this third fret on the G string a lot, right? And how I'm complementing that with the idea of bends is I'm also dropping my fingers back down to the second fret and bending that note up to the third fret, which is I feel like it's a very pleasant resolution for the listener to go through and to hear that, because it sounds like it started off as something imperfect, but it became something like beyond perfect, and it was kind of unexpected by them, you could say. So those are my 4 tips on how to play guitar solos with more feel. I hope you can adopt some of them, if not all of them, and I would definitely urge you to check out the previous video to this video, the part 1 to this video, and I had linked that right up in the start of this video. And I hope you guys really benefit from these 2 videos. And until next time, thank you so much for your time. If you like this video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, smash the bell button, and I want you guys to have all the notifications possible when it comes to getting content from this channel. Thank you so much.